the reason we're doing this show, this Younger Image reality show, is to actually tell the people out there that plastic surgery is an idea of a better version of you.
I'm the underdog that never gets a chance to show my worth. Picking up the pieces of a broken heart you think I'd learn. I'm at the mercy of a love that never says that I'm enough. So somehow I always lose. All I want is you.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Dr.
you're
Hill.
welcome.
Thank
Take
you.
care. We'll see you later. All right, so now we're going to go to another room. It's a consultation for a liposuction of the abdomen as well as tummy tuck. You know, after pregnancy, people get stretch skin and stretch muscle on top of some fat. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can help that. I haven't seen the patient, so we're going to go in for the first time.
Liposuction and tummy tucks are very commonly known procedures within the cosmetic and plastic surgery industry and are suitable for candidates who seek to get rid of excess and unwanted fat and skin.
Yasmin, Naima, room 2, she wants coat for upper eyelid as well as corner of the brow lift with twilight. If you can send it code for her. All right, thank you. So shall we go in?
Are you ready, Dr. Sophia?
Yep.
Okay.
I believe the way to build a trusting relationship with the patient is to be honest and to be authentic. So I've had patients that come in and they request a procedure, and I just tell them that they're really not a good candidate for a procedure. I remember there was a gentleman that came in with kind of like a beer belly type of bulge, that most of the fat was around the organs. It's what we call visceral fat. In that case, you really can't do any liposuction, or if you do, you don't see a big difference. So I explained that in detail to the gentleman, and then he literally grabbed his wife and put it in front of me and said, okay, what can you do for her? So I believe if you're honest and have the best intention for the patient and yourself, that's how you can build trust.
So she was here before 2 years ago. She would like to talk about again tummy tuck and liposuction.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hello. How are you?
Good.
All right. You can do this. Like, have you ever had any liposuction in the area before?
No.
No. Never. Okay. And how many pregnancies?
3.
3. And you're done with pregnancies,
Yes.
right? Okay. Good. Because we don't recommend to tighten up the muscle, get rid of the excess skin, and then you get pregnant again. So usually we say finish with all that and then do it. Very good, and that's called a mommy makeover, right?
Yes.
Because of the pregnancy, usually do that. And sometimes we do the breast with it together, but for today we can just do this.
Yes. Today.
So let's take a look. You can actually stand right here. So, liposuction only suctions the fat, right? It doesn't do anything to the excess skin, and it doesn't do anything to the loose muscle. So there are 2 of these muscles, the six-pack muscles. With pregnancy, it comes forward and stretches. And then when the pregnancy is finished, it goes back, but it doesn't go back to where they were before, right? You always have that little loose muscle that we call a diastasis. So what we will do is we do the liposuction, and then on the same day, we get rid of that excess skin, free up your belly button, lift it all the way up, tighten up the muscle, kind of like a corset, bring it together. And maybe get rid of this, we grab the upper portion of the belly, bring it down, and then we just make a little hole and bring out your belly. What about the arm? Does this bother you or no? I tell her to take care of it because you see, you do have a lot of, and then ladies hate this area, right, between the breast and the arm, the whole armpit and the back area. So everybody these days likes to have this curve, right? but we always have a lot of bulges in here, and sometimes we have even indentation in here, so we can actually get rid of that.
a little problem here.
Oh, so if this one bothers you as well, everybody loves to have the curvature stuff. So this is a very common shape of the patients who've had pregnancies, and they keep the fat around their organs right in the midsection area. So liposuction is not just removing the fat, but to contour people. And then for people who have a lot of loose skin because of the pregnancy, we do this full tummy tuck in addition to the liposuction. So here's another before-after patients of the picture that you can see. We got rid of all that excess skin, and then look at the nice curve that we gave with the liposuction. So tummy tuck alone will get rid of the excess skin, but it doesn't really give you the shape that we like. So this would be a very nice example of a liposuction and tummy tuck. All right, any questions?
No.
In order to make sure that you have a happy and a satisfied patient, it's very important to educate them. That's the most important thing in my opinion, because a lot of times the patients that are unhappy is because we did not explain to them in details what to expect, what are the process of healing. Obviously, it's important to have the correct procedure done for a patient, make sure that that patient is a good candidate for that procedure. But I believe education comes first in terms of what to expect for the after result and what to expect during the recovery. Some patients think that it's just like an in and out outpatient procedure and they can go to work the next day, or they're not going to have swelling and they're not going to have bruising and so on. So we sit down in detail and explain to them. All right?
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Very nice seeing you. So put your clothes back on and stay right
Okay.
Lower left and those lower back arms.
Yep.
Tummy
But
tuck.
also at the mid-back, upper back, sides of the breast, the armpits, the flank area. And the
you
fat
wanna do
injection. to the-
3D.
Yeah. And then the fat injection to the trochanteric area or so. All right.
So this is 3D.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thank you. And general anesthesia.
Being a child in Iran, I lived in Isfahan then. Not knowing any other life, you think you have the best life ever.
In Story, there is a cruel theme whereby a place that has experienced periods of greatness and grandeur is condemned to go through times that are characterized by desolation and despair. Esfahan, the historic city in Iran, is a great example of that. Its story, filled with both peaks and valleys, from being pillaged and destroyed by the Mongols, to having this Persian proverb dedicated to it, Esfahan Nisfa Jahan Ast, which translates to Esfahan is half of the world.
I remember there were times in school that we would get the hazard sounds that airplanes are coming. This was the wartime. Airplanes are coming, and we had to go from school, like in school. We had to leave our classroom and go to underground protection areas because they were bombing the city.
توجه علامتی که همکنون میشنوید اعلام خطر یا وضعیت قرمز است و معنی و مفهوم آن این است که حمله هوایی انجام خواهد شد. محل کار خود را ترک و به پناهگاه بروید.
On September 22nd, 1980, Iraq invaded Iran with the primary focus to cripple Iran and prevent Khomeini from exporting the 1979 Iranian Revolution movement. Schools, hospitals, mosques, and town centers in Iran became the target of regular air attacks. City bomb shelters and basement cellars is where families would sleep in fear of their lives. This 8-year-long war left Iran with over 500,000 killed. On August 20th, 1988, the war finally ended, but the scars from it will forever remain.
now that I think about it, we had to go to school, we had to live our normal lives. And at the same time, there was a war going on in the city where you lived. Like, you would hear stories all the time. Your neighbor lost a son, or they lost a cousin, or somebody died because of the bombing they were doing in the cities. So in a way, I'm thankful I was a child. For me, it was more of an adventure than fear. But now that I have kids of my own, I think about it and I'm like, what a scary situation it was for my parents and my family members, knowing that any minute we all could just die.
So today is an exciting day for Taylor. She's here to do the surgery, and she looks pretty nice and ready to go. She also has a comorbidity factor, which some other issues, but fortunately we got the medical clearance, and her doctor has cleared her to undergo general anesthesia as well as do the surgery. So we're gonna start soon and take out the excess fat that she has in the section, in the midsection, and we're doing like a 360 degrees so she will have a better curve. She already looks great, but make it better. All right, hello again. How are you?
Good.
All right, so you're excited?
Yes.
Today is the day. Huh?
Today is the day.
All right. Go ahead and stand up. I want to mark you. And this side is a little bit bigger, isn't it? Have you noticed? So we just finished. She did very well, and for a small lady like that, we actually got a pretty good amount of fat removed. But the important thing is really not the amount of fat that we remove, it's where we get it out from, as well as how much we leave in some areas to create a nice curve and contour. Sometimes we actually add fat to the areas that have divots or depression. But she did very well, and we're just waiting for her to wake up and get her out of here. So as I said, education was very important for my family. So there were 10 of us, and my father used to say all the time that a single stick easily broken, but 10 in a bundle is very hard to break them. So that was one of the most advice that he would always tell us, that make sure that you guys, wherever you go, stick to each other. So my father actually moved from a small city to a bigger city because he realized that the schools back in the capital were the best. Then when we moved to the capital, he realized that the best schools in the world are in the US. So all of us, every time that we would finish high school, he would give us this opportunity that if you want to go to study abroad in the United States, you're welcome to go. And of course, all of us jumped at it. Having seen all my siblings leave one at a time, it was really tough for my parents because they were left alone. But that's the bad part. I can't say it nicely.
چرا رفتی چرا من بیقرارم به سر سودای آغوش تو دارم نگفتی ماهتاب امشب چه زیباست ندیدی جانمت غم ناشکیباست چرا رفتی چرا من بیقرارم به سر سودای آغوش تو دارم.
So firsthand, I could actually see what my parents were going through when each of the siblings would leave. So it was very tough, especially for my mom. So it was very tough for me to decide to leave as well because they didn't have anyone with them. So they were getting older, and it was tough for them to be alone. شما که کمک نمی‌کنی.
بسیار عالی.
خانواده خودم جان افتادم.
می‌خوام یه ذره گریه کنید.
آره، good idea. One of the biggest challenges was actually marrying my wife. So I remember the first I saw her, she actually is a family friend. So I had seen her when she was younger in parties and stuff, and it didn't catch my eyes. But there was another party that I saw her, and I really liked her and then wanted to get to know her more. And she had no interest. And interesting enough, she actually even came to Richmond and saw her one time in the BCU, the medical section gym that she was working in. You know, I asked her, I'm going to take her home.
I never forget, it was January 13th, and it was, I think, 8 o'clock at night, and I saw Jamal walking in, and I knew Jamal from the past. I knew who he was, so, you know, said hi to him and everything, and he was like, yeah, this is my New Year's resolution. I want to start working out this year. And it was January 13th, so he was there to work out. And I think and then he asked me, he's like, what time do you get off tonight? And I was getting off, I think, like the next half an hour. And he insisted on giving me a ride home. And I kind of didn't feel comfortable, number one, because I felt like he's somebody that we know, like family, we know each other. And I'm like thinking, if he's thinking, anything more than that, I really don't want to, kind of get involved in the family situation. So I was kind of hesitant about, getting closer to him. So he worked out for like half an hour. I don't know what he did for half an hour. And he like literally, not even 20 minutes later, he came out and he's like, okay, I can give you a ride. And he like literally 10 minutes, I keep saying no. And he was like, no, let me give you a ride. What do you want to ride the bus? Because I didn't have a car back then. What do you want to ride the bus? I'll give you a ride. So finally he gives me a ride home. And the cutest part was that I lived in a dormitory back then. And I had a food plan. So which means I had to go to a specific cafeteria where I had my food plan. And he was like, well, what are you doing for dinner? And I was like, for sure he's not going to come. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to our, school's cafeteria. That's where I'm going to have dinner. He's like, I'll come with you. And it was just so cute because this was a place that literally it was mostly for undergrad kids. It wasn't, somebody who's in medical school would want to come and hang out with you in this cafeteria. So I remember him and I, and also one of the girls who I was really good friends with in the dorm, which I had plans to go to dinner with. We all went to dinner in the cafeteria.
So yeah, it's a pretty challenging story. I took her to the Bird Theater. A lot of people from Richmond, they know that. And interesting enough, the worst thing that could happen happened. So I just wanted to show her the Bird Theater, which is one of the historic theaters in Richmond. And basically, the inside is so beautiful. So I even didn't pay attention what kind of movie I'm taking her. So I took her over there. First of all, I forgot my wallet. So I asked her to pay for that.
Don't ever be the same.
$1 or something. But she hated it at that moment. Then we went inside.
Ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart. You can have it back.
So when we finished the movie, she
if
came
it's
out.
only half of your heart.
days after the surgery for Taylor, and I've already seen her. She was doing very well, but we're going to go and call her and do a virtual follow-up and see how she's doing. She's actually a very thin lady, but we were able to get a pretty good amount of fat from her. So let's see if we can get a hold of her and call her, see how she's doing. Hey, hi, how are you? All right, very good. You look really nice and rested. I'm gonna see if I can increase the volume here for a second. There we go. All right, so how are things?
We're pretty good. I was talking to Vanessa and I was telling her kind of just about the discomfort that I've been having. It's just mainly like in my back. It's not like it was when I first seen you, but it's like swollen, so it's like hard.
Oh.
So I just feel like a lot of like hard knots like everywhere.
That's very common. You know, after the surgery, imagine if you have this much of fat, right? When we remove the fat, the skin doesn't contract right away. The area that we remove the fat gets filled up with fluids. We call it swelling, right? The lymphedema or lymphatic fluids that gets collected. So as the swelling goes down, it actually doesn't go down uniformly. So what happens, some areas go down faster than others. So it's very common to have these lumps and bumps. That's why we recommend to do these massages, lymphatic drainage massages, and leave the compression on as long as you can to kind of get rid of the lumps and bumps.
Yeah. Do you think so? I'm wearing like this one right now.
Okay.
Like should I also be wearing the white one that you gave me? Doesn't matter. I can just alternate, switch it up.
Exactly. I think it's alternate is better because if you have too tight of a garment, then you won't be able to move around or breathe and all that. So as long as you have some sort of compression, like being snug, that's okay. But just having said that, make sure when you sit, don't sit like that. It's better to kind of sit up nice and tall so the skin doesn't wrinkle massaging. Because as you know, movement is actually good because the movement helps with circulation and gets rid of the swelling faster.
Hi everybody, my name is Brianna. I am the Master Esthetician here at Younger Image Plastic Surgery Center. Today I am going to be providing a facial for one of our patients' husbands. Just something for him to relax since he's going to be here for a while she has her procedure.
Say my mom is the person that has really influenced me in different parts of my life. I lost my father when I was about 7-8 years old, and it was an accidental death, so it was kind of not expected. And my mom, coming from Iran, most moms are housewives, and my mom she was a nurse. She is a nurse. And she always worked outside the house, so she was always financially independent. And when we lost my father, having this this financial backup where my mom brought for us, it was an amazing thing to have, especially in Iran, because Iran usually men are the breadwinners and women has they don't really have much financial power. So seeing that, and then also growing up, having kids of my own, realizing, my mom was a single mom, but I attended all the extra activities that my friends who had fathers did. I went to swimming lessons, I had English lessons, I had piano lessons. I literally had everything that all the other kids had. And I admire her because I never felt that I don't have a dad. I always felt like I'm equal with all the other kids my age. Biggest advice always is to be independent. independent and strong. And she's had a very tough life. And she's been so strong through it all.
Thank you for watching, and until the next episode, be the best version of yourself that you can be.